Next question.
I think there are some green shoots in terms of change, and I don't just mean change towards the liberal side or change toward the conservative side, but change in things getting sort of dislocated from the blue-red axis. And one of those would be actually the issue of defense spending. To have the F-22 get canceled, to have the spare engine for the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter get canceled, to have defense, particularly weapons projects that are clearly pork designed, right, where you've got one thing, but it's manufactured in 400 different congressional districts. Why is that? So it can never be cut. To have that become a punchline, it's something that both Democrats and Republicans make fun of and don't like and feel like it is a liability to vote for. That is something that is only starting to change, but it is starting to change. And I really think that it actually took decades of people making fun of it before people started to actually get embarrassed about it. But it's working. The F-22 did get killed. The F-35 second engine did get killed despite lobbying by GE through this weekend to try to get that that engine funded, even in this bridge agreement that they just came up with. And so that's one of those issues where I feel like whatever's driving it, whether it's because you're a peacenik or it's because you think it's a misappropriation of American priorities to have half of all of our spending be on defense and half of the world's defense spending be our own, or whether you think that pork is embarrassing or whatever it is, you can come at that issue from a lot of different ideological places and move forward on it in a way that where the divide ends up being old thinking versus new thinking rather than right thinking versus left thinking. And that's one of those issues that makes me feel like things might change. It also, I think there's actually a lot in defense and national security that could be that way. The 2 million people who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan are going to be an incredible political and intellectual resource for this nation coming back from this decade of war that we've had them fight so disproportionately with this very radical reorientation of military strategy toward counterinsurgency. Counterinsurgency is a very big government way to think about what the United States is capable of. And to have the sort of traditionally conservative small c conservative mindset of the military officer corps both develop and then have to try to live through this idea of massive military capacity. Counterinsurgency implies that not only can we kill people we don't like, but we can build governments anywhere in the world by force of 19-year-olds with guns. That is going to change, I think, the intellectual and moral firepower of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans over our generation is going to, I think, change our thinking about defense policy and the use of the military. So that stuff I think about could be a big change. We just found out last night, Hillary Clinton announced that the president will be giving a major address on the Arab Spring, about the revolutions in the Arab world and how America will think of itself in the world in relation to those revolutions. That, I think, potentially has a completely reorienting effect on what it means to be not just a neoconservative, but a conservative in policy, as well as a liberal. So I do see some stuff as dislocating. And maybe you have to be interested in national security and international affairs in order to care about that stuff. So I live in hope that it will become funny that by reducing tax revenues, you think you can increase tax revenues. My guess is that in 30 years, people will still be trying to get away with that.